Hi, I'm Eric Leclerc. Today we're going to guide you through the install process. Let's get started.
This kit adds Android Auto, CarPlay, a 15-band EQ with high-pass and low-pass crossovers, time alignment, 4 camera inputs, retains your factory steering wheel controls and amplified audio system in equipped vehicles, and on top of all that, it's completely plug and play. So come with me as I show you how easy it is to plug in the Stinger Heighten 10-inch multimedia infotainment system into your Toyota Tundra. For this installation, here are some tools that we'll use. Before removing the factory radio, ensure that all the vehicle's settings that are programmed through the factory radio are set to the proper setting, because they will not be adjusted once you remove the radio. Using a plastic pry tool, remove the media switch panel below the climate controls. Remove the connectors on the panel by pressing on the small locking tabs and pulling them straight out. The charging outlet plugs do not have clips, just pull them out to remove them. Carefully set this panel aside so it doesn't get damaged. Remove the control panel assembly by pulling it straight out toward the back of the truck. Using a 10mm socket and extension, remove the 4 10mm bolts that secure the bottom of the radio into the dash. A magnetic bit is helpful here so you don't lose the bolts inside the dash. Now pull the radio straight toward the back of the truck to remove it from the dash. It's very possible that the small yellow clips will stay in the dash. Carefully remove them as they will need to be mounted on the top of the dash kit before installing the Heighten into the dash. Remove most of the harnesses plugged into the back of the radio. The ones connected to the vehicle need to be disconnected. The ones connected between the radio components can be left connected. Compare the 2 main vehicle harnesses included with the kit to the factory vehicle connectors. One of the harnesses will have connectors that match the factory connectors. That's the harness you're going to use for the installation. Locate the 2 USB adapters included with the kit. Likewise, one of them will not plug into your factory USB connector. The one that does plug into your connector will be the one that we'll use. Now we'll head over to the bench to assemble the wiring and the hardware for the kit. Plug the connectors on the vehicle connection harness into the radio replacement interface. Reference the sticker on the bottom of the radio replacement module. The audio output ports are labeled amplified and non-amplified. Plug the 12-pin connector into the appropriate port. If your installation requires the use of the SR TUN14H HAR, connect the pair of RCAs labeled aux audio into the RCAs labeled aux audio in on the Heighten's 24-pin AV harness. Match the RCA's color for color, red to red, white to white. Connect the yellow RCA labeled OEM camera on the main harness to the RCA labeled reverse camera in on the Heighten's 24-pin AV harness. This part's very important. Connect the small module labeled RPA VA1 onto the 6-pin connector on the main harness. If this is not connected, the OEM reverse camera will not display on the Heighten display. Connect the blue wire on the antenna adapter to the blue wire labeled Power Antenna on the main harness. Connect the pink SpeedSense wire on the Heighten's 10-pin multi-camera input harness to the pink SpeedSense wire on the main harness. Now we will assemble the hardware. The mounting tabs on the ends of the bracket face down. Place the module on the bracket. Pass a zip tie up through the module's mounting tab. Loop the zip tie back down through the next hole. Then pass the end of the zip tie through and pull to secure it. Notice the 2 side mounting brackets are labeled LH for left hand and RH for right hand. Align the lower holes on the left hand bracket, labeled LH, to the left hand side of the Heighten module. Using 2 of the black M5x10 screws included with the Heighten hardware pack, secure the mounting bracket to the module. Flip this entire assembly over and repeat the process on the right hand side. Position the module bracket between the side brackets and align the top holes. We're going to secure them into position by using 4 number 10 by 3/8 inch truss head Phillips screws from the hardware pack. The screw should pass through the side bracket, then into the U-shaped receiver underneath the module bracket. You might find it helpful, once you start the screw, to carefully lift up on the bracket with your finger to help guide the screw underneath the bracket. The only programming that's required is to set dip switch number 3 down into the on position. Connect the antenna adapter into the Heighten's antenna input. Plug the USB cable that fits your truck into the top USB port. This is the port that's closest to the top edge of the Highton chassis, also closest to where we mounted the radio replacement module. Plug in the Highton AV harness, plug in the main power harness, plug in the multi-camera input harness, and plug in the small connector labeled steering wheel control. If you're installing the external microphone, be sure to connect the small harness with the 3.5mm connector labeled mic. If you're connecting a Sirius XM tuner, connect the tuner here into this adapter and plug the other end of the connector into the Highton. Take the two Highton display cables and pass them through the gap between the Highton brain and the radio replacement module. They will need to route out the front of the assembly to connect to the Highton display. Now we're going to attach the Highton display into the main frame panel. Place the display face down on a soft surface so not to damage the display. Place the main frame panel on the back of the display and attach it using 4 M4x12 screws from the Highton hardware pack. Plug the two display cables into the back of the Highton display. Align the assembly with the holes on the back of the main frame. Secure it into position by installing two 10 by 3/8 inch screws on each side of the assembly. Now we can take this whole assembly over and install it into the truck. If you choose to mount the external microphone, attach the mic to the mount by sliding the microphone's tab into the groove in the mount. Clip the microphone to the top of the A-pillar aimed at the driver. Using a nylon pry tool, carefully tuck the wire behind the plastic trim panel. Follow down the weather stripping down the side of the A-pillar. Using a nylon pry tool, pry off the small sail panel on the side of the dash. Using a long zip tie, route the cable through the dash to the radio opening. You can intercept the zip tie below the steering column, then pass it back through to reach the center of the dash. If you're retaining Sirius XM, connect the black adapter onto the black connector. Connect the antenna adapter. Connect the USB cable into the adapter. Connect the 3 or 4 vehicle connectors on the main vehicle harness. Plug the 3.5mm microphone cable into the input labeled mic. Now attach the two yellow plastic clips on the tabs at the top of the kit. If they did not fall off like ours did during removing of the radio, you'll need to remove them from the factory radio. Tuck the wiring inside the dash and slide the radio assembly into position, and align the top two clips into the subdash. It's a good idea to perform a function test to ensure that everything works properly before completing reassembly. Install the 4 10mm bolts to secure the Highton into the dash. Now reassemble the truck in the reverse order of which it was taken apart. That completes the installation, and now our Tundra has an upgraded infotainment system with Android Auto, CarPlay, Bluetooth, and lots of other great features. We hope you've enjoyed this install video. Thanks for watching.